Hi, it's Rob over at South Drive. I've got the perimeter walls of the living room chalked out here, square to the room, so that when we frame the new walls, everything will be square. And then I ran a parallel line across the front of the fireplace wall from end to end, parallel off that back wall, so it's the same distance to here. And I governed that off the necessary setback to have the casing with the back bend, and then the 2.5 inch strip, and then a 1/2 inch MDF paneling, and then the framing. So that line is the framing that carries right along to that side. So we'll frame that out, and we'll basically build this bulkhead over here. We'll frame this out flush with there. The bookcase will sit within that space. Over here, the bookcase will come out flush to here, so we'll just go in line with that. Same thing over here. So this wall's all taken care of. And once it's framed, we can work at the paneling sizes on that wall. Now, as far as these three walls, I've taken the time, I've located the window on the wall. I centered it between that framed wall and this framed wall. Originally, I had centered it in the same center of the window, but then I realized that that was gonna throw everything off along this wall. So once I measured and marked out the actual framing line of this wall, and then got that wall, I was able to actually mark out the paneling sizes, find out the center of the overall room, transfer that line up to here, which is the center of the new window. So the window center line was going to be over there, about 1.5 inches to the right, but it's going to be over here now. And that takes the corner of the window from here over to, not this one, to this one over here, which is the new corner. And then down over here, the corner of the window is now here instead of over here. 46 takes you across to here, and again, that's no longer the corner. So we've got the center of the window. Then from either side, I took a full panel down either side, which takes me to this panel here and this panel here. Now from that point to that wall, I divided it up over the number of panels, which is 4 panels, and got, with a 2.5 inch piece of rail and style, I've got 13 1/8 panels on either side, all the way from the right hand side of the window to the corner of the wall. So there's 4 13 1/8 panels with 2.5 inch pieces. Same thing over here, because I centered it on the wall. From this framed wall to this panel the rail that's gonna run down the side here. Again, I've got 4 13 1/8 panels, so that's exactly symmetrical on this side of the window as it is to that side of the window, which is great. The only difference is gonna be, and this is so negligible, in between the window, so in the width of the window, we have 1, 2, 3 panels that are 13 5/16, which is just over a quarter. So instead of 13 1/8, it's 13 5/16. So it's about 3/16 difference from the either side. So this whole wall will look really consistent as far as the panel sizes. This wall is going to be 7 even panels all the way across at 14 1/4 inches times 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 2.5 inch strips. Now again, this is not factoring in the little paneling mold, but that'll shrink the actual visible size a little bit more, but that's negligible because I'm actually working out the panel sizes in order to figure out where to put the rails and the stiles that go on the wall. Over here, obviously we're limited just to what we've got with the casing and 1 rail piece, and then we turn the corner here and we're gonna have 1 panel width here running up the wall, up the bulkhead. Then you're gonna have cabinetry. Then the same thing, we're gonna divide the space that's on here evenly and get that paneling on there. And then the last wall here, from the corner of the wall to the inner edge of the window. Now, this casing on here is actually a piece of baseboard, but the window frame actually starts right there. So when we take it down, if we imagine that this piece of casing here is going to actually be now a 1x3, a 3/4 by 2.5, still with the same setback from the actual window frame. I took that line down and got a mark over here. So we're going to have, from that vertical style, we're going to have 4 equal panels of 12. Oh, my camera doesn't seem to want to focus. There it goes. 4 equal panels to the left of this window at 12 7/8. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 panels at 12 7/8 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the vertical stiles. To the right of the window, just because there's a different spacing here and we've furthed the size of the wall out a little bit, instead of being 12 7/8, here from the style that comes up the side of the window, we're actually going to have 3 panels at 13 5/8. So these panels are going to be wider than what's over there by about 3/4 of an inch. So there's either side. This side's bigger, that side's smaller, and then in between the two of them, they actually get the biggest. These ones are 13 5/8. These ones are actually 13 3/4 times 4 panels, which are going to be in between the windows. So these 3 panels, 1, 2, 3, and these 4 panels, 1, 2, 3, 4, will be within 1/8 of an inch of each other. You'll never notice the difference. However, as soon as you get past these 7 columns, you're going to go from 13 3/4 right into 12 7/8, which is going to shrink by an inch. So I just want to double check that it's okay that we have 13 5/8 for a few panels, 13 3/4 for a few panels, and then jump down to 12 7/8, which is again about an inch smaller than, or 7/8 smaller than what's in the middle here. So if you were to stand back and look at this wall, even though the panels underneath are going to be squished and have a very different proportion than the full size panels, it may not look so strange to have sort of vertically squished and wider panels, and then as soon as they get down up to full size, they'll get a little bit taller, and they can also be a little bit narrower, so for better proportions. The other good news is that we're going from, on this side, 12 7/8 panels into 13 1/8. So there's only a 1/4 inch difference in panel size from this wall to this wall as we turn the corner. So there'll be a lot of continuity across here. Again, we're only going up 3/16 from here, then we're going back down 3/16 to 12 1/8 over here. Sorry, 13 1/8. Then again, one more big jump from this wall to this wall, just because of the dimensions of the space. We're going to be jumping up an inch, and this is going to be 14 1/4, and these are 13 1/8. So the rest, all the little small pieces, will be what they will be based on the in between the windows, over top the door area. But I just wanted to make sure that we captured the panel widths, made sure everything's symmetrical, because this way we can lay out the studs in the wall so that we have a stud right behind. And I marked it, for example, here. If we start a full piece of MDF, 1/2 inch MDF, and start in the corner, run it across to here. If we ran a full 8-footer, the panel will, the 8-footer would end right in the middle of the panel, and you'd have an awkward seam that you can't fill. So we're going to have a stud centered within one of the vertical 2.5 inch style pieces, and that way, if the stud's right in the middle, we can cut off the MDF halfway and hide it right behind the vertical panel. Same thing over here. If we start an 8-footer in the corner, we come across here. An 8-footer takes us somewhere over here, so we'll cut it back right on a stud that'll be centered underneath this panel, and again, it'll be hidden all within the paneling, and we can place our studs accordingly. So a lot of math, a lot of sort of looking at the drawings and dividing up the space and making sure that I've laid out the window correctly, because the mason guys are going to be coming on Thursday to resize this masonry opening. So I had to get that done, find the center lines, and also make sure that I had all the panel sizes correct so I could see what sizes they were going to be to make sure that they jive with the drawings from Amparo. But I did want to capture that, and I think it's going to turn out really great. We're going to have a lot of consistency, and then obviously vertically we'll just divide out the space between the baseboard and the crown molding after the freezes and all that. We'll divide out equal panels at exactly, I forget exactly the width, that's right, the heights of them, but they will be nice even consistency horizontal wise, but vertically wise, the horizontal spaces will be different per section of the wall. Hope that makes sense. Thanks so much.